it wasn't just about the task that these people took over for me or this piece of my business. The bigger thing that it did for me was free up my brain space so that
Mm.
I can be more creative. I'm coming up with more ideas. I'm more strategic. I can listen to a training and actually retain it and then implement it. And so it was actually this big shift in their brain and their mindset and how we only have so much brain space and we only
Yeah.
have so many decisions. Like it's a lot. And so freeing up, knowing that, oh, all the customer service was going to be, I don't even got to check that anymore. I don't even need to check my email anymore. I actually don't need to reply to any of this. I don't need to check my
Mhm.
Slack for 3 days and I know it's going to be fine. That brain space allows people to grow their businesses exponentially more than I think, oh, I let someone take over my marketing department and I made, an extra $20,000 in a month. I mean, I have probably some stories like that, but that's not the one I hear the most. The
Mm.
one I hear the most is people feel so much less stressed out. And that's why we got into business to begin with, was to be
Exactly.
less stressed out.
Hey there, it's Michelle, and today Esther Inman is joining me. Welcome to the show, Esther.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
I am too. I know we had to schedule this a couple of different times, so I'm glad
Yeah.
we finally got to connect and all that good stuff. And I know how amazing that you are and all the people that you help and all the cool stuff. So, can you share a little bit about who you are, how you got there, and what you do to help the people you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to say to address the scheduling thing,
Oh,
because I was in a hurricane.
yes,
Our
that's
first one
huge.
was literally during Hurricane Helene. And
Yes.
so then I had to do a lot of
I know, so
reschedule.
it's been a long journey to get you here, and I'm so glad that everything was, I don't want to say fine from the hurricane.
Yeah, but my home
You made
and
it
my
out.
family are okay. Yes.
Exactly. So I'm very grateful to hear that.
So speaking of which, I'm in Western North Carolina. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, up here in the mountains. That's where I'm based out of. But I've lived all around the world as a digital nomad. I've been in online business for almost, I mean, I think it's been at least 10 years actually when I count it, which is wild because I don't feel that old. But I started to refer myself as a senior online business owner now because I've been doing it for so long. Hopefully, I don't look senior yet. And I started as a virtual assistant and I got booked out so quickly and was just referred around like crazy that I wanted to try to refer jobs to the other military spouses and moms in my community, but none of them knew how to do any of the stuff that I knew how to do, which was simple. At that time, it was scheduling social media posts, posting blogs, like simple things. Now, VAs are kind of expected to do more advanced funnel stuff, but at the time, that wasn't as much of a thing. And so I was like, well, I can teach you guys how to do this stuff. So I started to teach them and I started to refer them to clients that I had to say no to, or I would kind of have them be subcontractors. And I just grew a very successful agency. I had lots of clients and I was building online courses for clients all around the world. I think for clients, I built between 50 and 70 online courses. And then I started doing the funnels and the marketing for them too. It was wild. But that demand for skills training and referrals and help getting your VA business was so huge that I became one of the top people in the industry. I have one of the best known courses, 90 Day VA. I have 5,000 students all around the world. And we also offer placement services because there's lots of business owners where it's their first hire or they've had bad experiences before trying to hire and they want to do it better this time, or they just don't want to do the hiring process. And so they want someone else to do the whole thing for them and they just get qualified, well-trained referrals. So I have kind of a few different things that I do there, but training VAs, helping them to scale and grow their businesses, and then helping business owners with their remote team growth is what I do.
I love it. And it's such a big need, right?
Yes.
And coming with a VA, that's why I brought you here today, because there's always so many questions
Yeah.
on the VA, levels and, misconceptions, I would say.
Mhm.
So really what we're talking about today is how to effectively outsource your VA, right?
Yes.
Um, and we already know like all the cool kids are doing it. And right. And then it's like, even when you're new, I feel like a lot of newbies are even coming in like, I need a VA, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think that is that are people are just automatically going to VA?
Oh gosh, a few reasons. One of them is business owners have to do so much. I think that it has exponentially grown
Hmm.
recently because marketing has gotten harder. And so we have to come out with new products and come out with new funnels, and our organic campaigns have to be on point. Our ad campaigns have to be on point just to like pay our salaries. So it's harder work now. And I hadn't thought about this until I started talking about it, but it's true, and it's even true for my business. And so effectively having people doing those types of things, there's just more things to do. So in order to grow at all or make any money, you have to be really efficient with how you're using people and how you're using your time to be
Hmm.
super efficient with your time as well. So I think
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons it's grown so much. Um, and then I also think, I mean, if you're paying yourself, even if you've done your business in a year or two and you've gotten to six figures, well, it doesn't make sense for you to keep answering all your customer service emails when you can find someone overseas to do it for 15 bucks an hour. This isn't the best use of your time anymore because you could be going on podcasts, having your own show, doing your more organic socials to make money. And so I think business owners are figuring this out much faster than maybe they did, years ago when I had to keep convincing people that they probably should hire someone. I think
Yeah,
people got the memo now.
exactly. Or even it's like, wait, I don't know how to do this. I know I need to do it in my
Yeah.
business. And it's like, wait, I gotta now learn this whole other skill
Right.
set than hiring someone that maybe already comes with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
I gotta be a bookkeeper. I have to be a digital marketer, both organically and for paid ads. I have to be a product developer and a product manager. I have to be a tech VA. Like it's not possible.
yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. So I think most people also think like as a VA as a part-time person,
Mhm.
right? So do you find that most people are part-time or do they actually have full-time VAs?
It's all over the board.
Whatever your
It really
business needs.
depends. It depends on what the business needs and what they can afford and what they want. Um, I think that newer business owners really love the idea of getting a full-time overseas VA for like $1,000 a month, and they see that as like this is going to be so great. And some people do have a great experience with that, and it works really well for them. A lot of people realize that those VAs, they work opposite hours as you. Their English isn't what you need it to be, or their skill set isn't what you need it to be. And then working with the opposite hours, things becomes a problem. So then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm actually not getting everything that I want from this. So sometimes people will have that person end up going part-time, or they'll have someone doing part-time for some of those routine, simpler tasks that are not time dependent and not dependent on you to give instruction. And then they'll have maybe somebody else part-time that's more money per hour, but they're able to do things like how you would do them or how you want them to be done. This
Hmm.
isn't always true, but this is generally what I have found.
Right. And what I think the beauty of it is you can really structure it whatever works
Yes,
best for you.
absolutely.
You know, I've
Yes.
had clients where they're in Pacific time zone and they're like, "Oh, I have my VA in the Philippines work my time zone." And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they're up all night."
Mm.
Right? Like so she was able to coordinate that. I remember I hired someone, this was a few years ago. I say someone, it was like an a agency. So I wasn't really assigned to one person. It was like, I guess whoever.
Yeah.
I don't know how they
Yeah.
worked. But it was a little frustrating for me and my business model because it was like, to your point, it was like they worked from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
So I would wake up and yes, I had work done, but then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, can you do this tweak? Or
Mhm.
they had a question, then I
Yeah.
answered it, then I had to wait another day. So
Yes.
the turnaround time was a
It's
little
literally the
challenging.
same thing that every business owner tells me, and then they come
Yes,
to me and want to hire someone who's not in that
yes, yes.
situation.
So I think that like, and again, like the other one, like you can ask or you can kind of make it work to how it works for both of you, I think. Okay, so let's kind of this is what I was kind of envisioning for this conversation is that we start like in case anyone's brand new, right? Or maybe someone's at that next level. So let's kind of go back to
Okay.
like how do you know when you're ready to hire a VA?
It depends, I think, on your financial situation. If you have some success early on and you're making some money, like even if you're doing services still and you're trying to build a different stream of revenue, whether it's like a product or coaching or something else, if you want to use some of that money to put towards this, it can help you grow that stream of revenue much faster because you don't have a lot of extra time to build a whole funnel for your coaching program and build an organic campaign for it. But do you have some extra money that you could throw at it and have someone who can do it for you? Yeah. And then it'll get done. It'll actually get up and out.
Right.
So that is honestly the most common situation I think that I see that people are ready to hire. But sometimes people have cash, they've sold a house and they're starting a new business. And so whenever you basically have the money to do it, where you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be broke if I do anything different outside of what I'm doing, then it's a reinvestment. That's how you have to look at it. It's a reinvestment. It's not just money that we're like putting into ads and who knows if we're going to get it back or not. It's um it's one of those things where it directly will free up your time so that you can directly literally take 10 hours that you would have spent, let's say, answering customer service emails. And if you're smart, well, now your 10 hours can be to building your funnel and getting it out the door, recording the episodes for your new product that you're trying to get out, whatever those things are. And if you can really focus either that on money generating activities or their time on money generating activities, it'll scale and it'll grow very quickly.
So that's where we start. We kind of see like what we're doing now, what we can hand off. Like, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so like let's pretend that you have some money, you have like 500 bucks a month extra or 1,000 bucks a month. And I always recommend you find the things that you do not need to be doing that are time consuming. And they will often be things like executive assistant stuff, like your inboxes. And you can have someone and have your emails be zero, and you only have to check them a few times a week. And this concept will already blow people's minds. Like I check my email 3 times a week, and I just take action on the things that my VA noted I need to take action on. And so, even as simple as that, people realize how much time that would free up for them and brain space. Um, and then there's other simple routine things, right? Let's say you do calls. Well, can someone else take the recordings and do the transcripts and get them loaded up? So anything that's just really routine and not the best use of your time is the stuff that you can start to put into a job description. And you really get to formulate that VA to be whatever you want it to be. Paying invoices is another good example, or just like kind of managing payments and refunds and customer service. All of that kind of stuff is the first things that I usually see people offload right away.
I love that because to your point of the email, I was like actually in my email and I thought I had mine kind of under control. Yeah, no. So like even things that I'm like, who is this person? Where maybe I was swiping something for them or I wanted to see something and
Mhm.
then they can kind of say like, do you want me to unsubscribe? Like even those little types of things that just
Mhm.
literally cleans it all up.
Mhm.
And a lot of people I know don't like to give up that control, especially of their email, because they're like, what if they see something private? You
Yeah.
know? So I'm sure you can tell them like, hey, if it comes from this, don't open it, or this type of thing. Like I'm sure you can set whatever rules and guidelines. With your service, do you also help? Because I know you help not only VAs, train them to find a job, but then you help people find a VA for their business. So
Right.
when you train them, are you training them on kind of like if let's say I went to hire someone and I don't really know what the system would be,
Mhm.
would they be able to help with some of those systems and set up?
Yeah, so inbox management's a good example. We teach inbox management and a good system of how to do it. It's actually the system, Michelle, that our mentor taught us a long time ago, and
I
I
love
taught it to my students. So my goal with my students is anything that I see business owners are asking for, or even stuff in my own business that I'm like, oh, this is what I'm having my team do. I turn that into trainings so that they have it. And we figure out what the business owner needs and wants as part of the job description. And then we just make sure that the VA has done those trainings or has done it for clients already. Most of my students they've been doing this stuff for clients now for a long time. So it's like they already know.
They get it.
Um, and the
Yeah.
control thing, to touch on that, you can build trust into your processes. So you do not have to give somebody access to all of your inboxes on day one, your credit card on day one, your social security number. No, no, no. You can do things very slowly, and build that into the process, which is something that you can do when you're onboarding.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking to that, like how do you know that they are the right fit for your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really like trials. So I always start everybody on a trial, 3-month trial. And at the 3-month mark, you have a session specific meeting that you both are openly talking about how it's going. You, as a manager, want feedback too. You want to hear what's working and what's not working. How can I better mentor and coach you and be a better manager?
Hmm.
That's the kind of attitude that you want to have as a boss or as a client, is very collaborative and wanting this to work out and wanting it to be an open dialogue. because that means that when they are having a problem, whether it's a personal issue that's impacting their work, or they don't feel like they're getting paid enough, or they don't like the stuff they're doing anymore, they feel like they can come and talk to you instead of just quitting.
Yeah.
Because most of what people will do is just quit. That's what we were taught to do in like the other world. And you don't want that. And it's new for us as entrepreneurs. A lot of us haven't really been bosses before, so we don't know. So you want to have that like open dialogue that's really collaborative and humble and saying, okay, I'm trying to be a good manager and be a good coaching manager for you. So how can I do that? And that's how you want to approach that conversation. And that will help immensely. It also helps that people know they're on a trial. They
Yes.
will really like show up the way that you would like them to show up usually.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then also I like to ask certain questions in my job description or in my questions before I even interview somebody. I like to do test projects, personality type quizzes just to see if it doesn't have to be the same personality type as mine, but like as long as we're kind of gonna match, all that kind of stuff is good things to do.
I love that. And I love you said like the open, kind of like the open conversation. I was gonna say the open door. I didn't know if that were that really made sense, but you got what I'm saying. Because a lot of times, like we think, oh, it's the person and they're not hearing me, they're not getting it. And I'm like, okay, but when you listen to them, sometimes they are the right person and you don't either have the systems or you are not communicating or giving them what you have in your head,
Not
right?
sometimes, Michelle. It's like 90% of the time.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Anytime you're having a problem with your team, the finger points back to you. You haven't given them an SOP. You didn't give them an example. The task wasn't clear enough. You
Yeah.
haven't told them what you want to look like or what you want them to do. You didn't vet them properly and look at their test project well enough and know that, oh my gosh, they cannot actually make graphics. They just wrote that on their resume. And I
Right.
assumed they could. So those, it's always you. And so even if it's, you know what, they weren't the best fit for this, that's
Right.
still on you.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny because I think most people don't do test projects and or
No.
they don't have like a curated test process, right? It's just like, okay, maybe some graphics, okay, these look great. I did a
Yeah.
test project where I was like, all right, I only want you to take, and I do paid. Do you do paid?
Yeah. I do
Okay.
paid, but I do a flat rate.
Correct. And then I'm very specific on I only want you to work 10 hours, 5, whatever it is. I give a time
Yep.
frame and I
Yep.
and I give them more tasks, right? Then I think they can do in that time frame. And I say work in this particular order because I'm looking not only at like their skill set, but are they do they follow directions? Are they going in the
Yeah.
order? Or did they
Yeah.
look at the list and say, oh, this is going to take me 2 minutes, let me do this first. But that was number 5 on the list, right? Like even things like that I think are really cool for you to fall in line so then you kind of having more tallies that they're the right fit. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yep.
So I think the test project is good. And then just keep going on this thing because this is what I just hear over and over. One of the things that I've had personally is that I find that some of the VAs, and I do agree with you, maybe it's a language barrier, maybe it's a cultural thing because somebody said, "Hey, it's a cultural thing, right?" Where it's like they're only doing what they're told to do. They're not taking initiative or thinking outside the box or solving problems. So,
Mhm.
how do you maybe position it to look to really hire some problem solvers, or someone who you can eventually turn into that?
It's so funny because I literally did training at the Chamber of Commerce recently on this because yes, this is a huge thing. And it's funny, I feel like we've all grown up. It's like okay, we're hiring remote workers now. Okay, we got this. And they're like, oh, this is the next problem. Now we're hiring people who can't actually run my business and I still can't take a day off. What was the point of this? Okay, so there's two ways you can do it. The first one is you want to put problem-solving type questions in your onboarding process and even in your pre-interview like hiring process. And then in the onboarding process, see if there's some things you can give them to test their initiative during that kind of 3-month trial. Another one is I like to show the ascension plan for a role so that somebody knows, look, after this role, if you do these things, you can move into this and you can make this much money and have it be very clear to somebody so that there's a want to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want to ascend and they're happy. They just want to do the things every single day. And you still like those people. We still want them. They're great at doing refunds, they're great doing customer service, they're great at putting copy onto websites, like they're great. but we want to make sure they're in the right spot. So don't hire a task doer for a job where you want a problem solver, or don't expect them to grow into it. So some of this is just you knowing what you're hiring. The other piece of this is we often do it to ourselves because we do not empower our workers to be problem solvers. We constantly give them tasks to do, and then we get mad when they don't think outside the box, but we told them, here, do it in this list exactly like I said. And
Mm.
then we don't empower people to be that way. So there's a lot we could talk about more on that.
Well, it is true. And sometimes, again, we get so caught up or we're so close to it or we know how to do it. We know the
Yeah.
process, like it all lives in our head. And or we haven't said, and I say we, I haven't done it, right? Or I didn't do it and
Yeah.
I became self-aware of it, was like I am not giving them permission, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, to solve
Mm-hmm.
the problem. And I
Yep.
think that whether you're a foreigner or you are an American, depending on the country that you live in, sometimes people just like they don't want to go up against the authority, right? Like you're the
Yeah.
boss. And it's like, I don't want to tell the boss what to do, you know? So I'll just do what she says. And
Mm-hmm.
then all the responsibility is on them, not on me, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
that's
all kinds
true.
of things. This is a whole like leadership conversation,
It is, but
I
that's what this
think.
has been turning into, and what I've
Yeah.
started more training and content on, because this is the thing that now entrepreneurs, we're all moving, online business owners, we're all moving into being senior online business owners, and we have teams and we don't really know how to lead them. We're still
Yeah.
just giving everyone projects and tasks and reviewing everything to make sure it's good. Or we'll try and hire a business manager, then that just didn't work out. And it's like, well, that's because you didn't give anybody ownership. And so educating yourself on how to be a coaching like manager, where when people are coming to you and saying, what should I do? And you turn it back around and you're saying, what are some options that you see before you that we could do? What are some,
Hmm.
how would you tackle this? What do you think is the best? Eventually they will learn that you're not going to come up with an answer for them. And so they come to you with an answer, or they just go and do it.
Right.
But this is retraining you in how you work.
It's so true. And sometimes, like for me, because I'm pretty techie, right? And when I get on
Yeah.
a new platform or really anything, I'm like, if I have to read the instructions, I just don't want to do it. Like, it needs to be that user friendly for
Mm,
me. So
yeah.
sometimes when I hire like the VA that's like the expert in this, I'll say, hey, look, this is really what I want to do. This is where I think it should go, but I'm probably missing a whole bunch of steps, like in the
Mhm.
automation or whatever.
Mhm.
So feel free to tell me because I also want to learn from you. And so it's done to meet this ultimate goal.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of cool working together and to have like that partner to like talk it through, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes, again, you're doing things by yourself and it's
Mhm.
like you may not have thought that, but then having that relationship with your team makes a huge difference in getting things done.
Yeah. And you can
'Cause-
set that up from the beginning and say, I want this to be collaborative. And
yeah,
work that way from the beginning and say, I don't want to come up with the briefs for our new launches forever. I'm just going to show you how to do the first few, and then you're going to own it. So like making that part of your onboarding process is very important. If you just continue to repeat the same thing of hiring VAs, giving them tasks, and then being mad when they don't turn into a problem solver, it's a you problem.
yeah. Okay, so I love this. I love this. I think that we've hit the point that we all need to work on our leadership skills, our
Yes.
communication skills, and how to be more collaborative and and before you make the decision to let go or it's not a right fit, like really look within, look at your processes and see where that's going. Okay, so let's talk about some real numbers. So what kind of task have you seen really been given the biggest bang for the buck when they're outsourcing? So are there any surprising like wins that your clients have experienced from these things that they were like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that."
In terms of like the VAs that they've hired.
Yeah, like what,
Yeah.
obviously not numbers particular, but like, oh my gosh, I was able to do X, I waited so long for this and, I was able
Yeah.
to get these things, type of things.
So the biggest thing is probably going to be surprising. But from my recent business owners that I've talked to, because everyone comes back with testimonials, they just love our hires. And that one of the biggest things that I've heard from them verbally is it wasn't just about the task that these people took over for me or this piece of my business. The bigger thing that it did for me was free up my brain space so
Mm.
that I can be more creative. I'm coming up with more ideas. I'm more strategic. I can listen to a training and actually retain it and then implement it. And so it was actually this big shift in their brain and their mindset and how we only have so much brain space and we only
Yeah.
have so many decisions. Like it's a lot. And so freeing up, knowing that, oh, all the customer service was going to be, I don't even got to check that anymore. I don't even need to check my email anymore. I actually don't need to reply to any of this. I don't need to check
Mhm.
my Slack for 3 days and I know it's going to be fine. That brain space allows people to grow their businesses exponentially more than I think, oh, I let someone take over my marketing department and I made, an extra $20,000 in a month. I mean, I have probably some stories like that, but that's not the one I hear the most. The
Hmm.
one I hear the most is people feel so much less stressed out. And that's why we got into business to begin with, was to be
Exactly.
less stressed out.
Exactly. Or even, and I've done this and I actually felt guilty about it. It was like, oh, wait a minute. I can actually have an extra hour or two to do nothing. I was like,
Uh-huh.
can I do nothing? Like, I felt
Yeah.
like I should be doing something. So it took me a while to get used to that. But again, more white space on your calendar, more time to spend with your kids, your spouse, whatever it is, right? So that does go a lot farther than money. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to the
Yeah.
communication style. Like, how often would you suggest, or how often are you checking in? What does that process look like for someone maybe who has never managed a remote team before?
Mhm. I mean, I've been managing my team for so long, so I'm going to paint the picture for what it could look like, and then I'm going to back into how it started because I think that it's important to see what it could look like just so that you can push through the beginning because the beginning can sometimes be hard. I literally can just take off a day. I don't even have to tell anybody. I can take off time. It doesn't matter. My team runs everything. I obviously will work my time around my promotion schedule. So I try not to take off when I need to show up organically online or write some copy for something. But my team can run everything. They don't need me to do really anything.
Wow.
And yes, I've been in business for 10 years, but that happened much earlier. And but in the beginning, having a project management system, having things that you do regularly that you have recorded yourself doing. You can just use Loom, just record yourself when you go and do it, and make some kind of training. I started mine with a spreadsheet. My team has since made an Airtable database organized by role and task, and it's
Wow.
insane. And they did all that. I didn't do anything. They just knew they were supposed to, and they kept doing it. And I do briefs, product briefs, and I'll do like a team meeting with them so that they know everything that needs to happen. And then we can like assign out tasks and everyone has an idea. And that's like kind of it, though. That's kind of how it works in the very beginning. And when I'm meeting with them one on one in the beginning, what I recommend my clients do with their new VAs is about twice a week is nice. And just plan on what you're going to train them on for those first month. Like, okay, week one on Tuesday at 10 a.m., we're going to go over this. And then on Thursday, I'm going to review what they did on Tuesday and we're going to go over this. So that's one of the things I include in my package is we have an onboarding plan so that you know what you're going to be talking about in your training. And you can
Mhm.
have them record that, turn it into SOPs, turn that into the training so that you never have to teach that to anybody ever again. Now it's
Wow.
part of the process for when you hire. So that's some of the stuff that I highly recommend you do when you're early on and just
Hmm.
empower your team, empower them to maintain the training, empower them to take your briefs that you made and turn them into the project plan in Asana. Like just show people how to do it once and have that be recorded so that they can do it with anybody new who comes on or that they can continue to do it themselves.
Yeah. I think when you just said, oh, my business basically runs without me. Like, I'm sure everybody's ears were like, wait, what? Right? How
Yeah,
can
I
I
know.
do that? Because you're so in it, right? They're doing
Yeah.
all the things right now. So for
Yeah.
those people who are listening and they're feeling completely overwhelmed in their business right now, maybe they're either doing everything themselves and they're burnt out, right? What's the first conversation should they have with themselves before even looking at a VA?
I think that sometimes we try to, first thing is, we try to bend the rules of space and time and think that we can do all of this ourselves. So you have to have a reality check of, am I in a hustle phase? Fine. How long is this going to last and when can I be done? When's the done of the hustle phase? Because you can't work, 12 hours a day forever. You'll get burnt out and that's no fun. So I believe in hustle phases, but they have to have an end date and there has to be a success metric for when that end date happens. Otherwise, we just keep doing it and it never ends.
Yeah.
So, fine, if you need to be in that stage, okay, but what does that actually mean? And then two is what would it look like if you had a clone of yourself? If there was a second version of you, what would be all the things that you would give them to own? And then what would be the things that you would keep because you like to do them and they're fun and you really feel like that you're better at it. Your clone couldn't do it as good as you.
Hmm.
Those can become your job description. And it's okay if you can only start with a chunk of it due to financial reasons.
Hmm.
But one of the things I really try with my business owners is you don't necessarily need like, I need a tech VA because she has one, or I just need a podcast manager. You really need a second you because you know how to do everything. So you really need somebody who can do a whole bunch of stuff for you, even if it requires some training from you. And once I get that picture in someone's brain, it's like, oh, that would be great. Here's all the things.
I know, and I'm sitting here like, is there somebody like that that knows
There
all the
is.
things?
There's somebody like that. That's how my business is able to run, is because I hire people who can do all the things. And I only make sure that I am continuing ownership of stuff that I want to do. For me, it's
Hmm.
copy, it's
Hmm.
organic socials, coaching, because only I can do some of the coaching, but even some of my coaching, I have my team members do as well.
Hmm.
Um, I do some of the trainings, other trainings, they manage the guests. So it's like, it is possible.
Hmm. Hmm. Because I think that, and I'm like stopped for words right now because I'm like, is there another unicorn out there? I don't know. Because I think what happens is people think I need to, if I'm making the list of all the things I want, I'm gonna now say, okay, I need this person because this is gonna allow me to free up my time to whatever, free up my brain to whatever, give me more revenue, right? And then I gotta wait until I get that revenue to then hire the next person. And what is that person gonna have? And then what are
Mhm.
they gonna do, right?
No, you don't
Where
have to do
I
that.
was like, in my perfect world, I would love to hire the I could do all the things person. And then
Mhm.
from there, at least I know most of the things are covered. And then from there, it would be like, what can I take off that person's plate? And
Mhm.
then maybe dive into doing things a little bit deeper or what have you.
Mhm.
So we don't have to do that. My first example of, okay, this
Mhm.
person, then this person, then this person.
No.
It could literally be, hmm.
Yes.
Good to know. That's exciting because that was going to be my next question. How, like, when do you get to the point to hire the next person? But that may not have to be a thing. Oh my
It
gosh.
only is if so the instance that I have seen is you can have someone who can so this will blow people. Your people build funnels, right? This is what you all do.
Yeah, yeah.
This is going to blow
Combo.
people's mind. I write copy because I'm the writer, and then
Mm-hmm.
I hand it to my team member, and then she literally does the rest of it. I don't do anything else. I might record the things for the product because I need to make them, but I don't do anything else for that either. She does the rest.
Wow.
She uses AI to help her, and I'm actually trying to train her on copy because I'm like, I feel like I could do the copy too. You don't really need me anymore. And
Right.
then another team member does all the emails.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
like to get to that point, I had somebody who could do a lot of different things. She knows my Go High Level account. She knows about my products. She knows this. I pick a template, use this one, use these colors, boom, done. And she also does my email inbox. She also is a backup for the customer service person. She also
Mm-hmm.
helps manage my programs. And then I have, she's only part-time. And then I have another person who does like customer service and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
But what she doesn't do is copy, like I said, her mock-ups aren't great.
Mm-hmm.
And her she's not really she doesn't really do social media. So that's when you have to kind of be like, okay, is that stuff that I'm cool still with owning? Or do I
Right.
want to hire somebody else? I'll find an agency to do it for my social media for me or something like that. So
Right.
that's the only thing is be open because maybe you try and hire for the unicorn, but they can only do 70% of it. Who cares if they're a great fit and you'll keep the other 30% or you'll find somebody else. That's the only time when
Exactly.
you have to be a little wiggle.
Exactly. And I remember I hired one girl, and like, I loved her. And it was very much like I hired her for a specific thing. And then we were like in our staff meeting or our team huddle, and we were talking, and then I was like, oh, because da 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 da. She's like, oh, I know how to do that. I'm like, you know how to
Yes.
do that? And then
Yes.
and then I was talking about something else. Oh, I can do that. And I'm like, okay, can you just tell me what you can do at this point? Because she didn't openly say, "Oh, I can do XYZ." as well as what I was specifically looking to hire. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, now I was able to not have to look for someone else or figure it out on my own. I was like, okay, can you make this work? You know?
That's a great
Um,
tip. So I actually, anytime I identify something in my business I need, I ask my team first. And I also ask any past hires that I really liked and for whatever reason they moved on. And I never
mhm,
have usually bad issues with people. They just want to do something else. And
right.
that's why they leave. And I will ask, is this something that you guys want to offer? Because then it's easy for me to add it on to somebody who already works for me. Or if they want to learn it, I'll pay for you to take a course and then you can go and do it for me. I don't care. I'd rather do that than hire somebody new and have to do a test project. Blah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, are there any last tips or anything that you want to leave us with?
I think my last tip would be it is okay to do a little bit of trial and error and to take baby steps with this. You can start with a VA for as little as I don't like to go below 5 hours a week, but 5 hours a week and get some of the like customer service and email inbox. I always am like, do that, just get it out. It's gonna feel like more than 5 hours a week.
Right.
And even like posting recordings and like maybe the emails that are routine for whatever your thing is. Maybe it's like on Tuesday, the Tuesday newsletter. So that's stuff that's really routine that someone else can do. Get that off your plate and just give it 3 months and be like, we're going to try it for 3 months. I'm going to see how it goes
Mm-hmm.
and then revisit it. It is okay to take small steps like that. Your VAs will love to grow with you when you're ready. And it's okay after the 3 months if it wasn't a fit or if you need to change something or you want to remove something off their plate and add something else. Just give yourself permission to learn this and take small steps as you do it. And know the goal at the end is you can take time off and you can be done at whatever time you want and you can have a business that runs without you. And that is possible for you. So
I
that would
love
be
that. I love that. Okay, I'm going to get into Michelle's Hot Minute. We're just going to take a minute. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. So just answer the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
okay. Okay.
What is your guilty pleasure?
I don't know if I'm guilty about it, but I love reading. I read a lot. I listen to audiobooks. I don't feel like it's a guilty pleasure, but that's like I do it
A
all the
pleasure.
time. Yeah.
What is your favorite way to de-stress?
I'm a sleeper. I take naps every day.
What do you wish that someone taught you a long time ago?
Hmm. This is a little deep, but I wish somebody taught me how to hear the voice of God and how to experience like a deep spiritual life in your everyday life. I wish I would have learned that earlier on in life for sure.
Hmm. What is your next travel destination?
Probably camping locally. We live in the mountains. We love it. We camp all the time.
Well, that sounds like fun. And then what tells you most about a person?
How they treat other people, like how they're if they're kind to other people, even in, interactions in a store with somebody, that to me speaks volumes about somebody.
Hmm. Well, this was so much fun, Esther. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you.
I am so thankful anytime I get to talk about VAs and how great it is, the outsourcing life. I'm here for it. Thanks for having me.
I know this is going to help so many people. Can you tell people where to find you?
Yes, please come visit me. You can find more information just about me on esterinman.com or my handle on Instagram. I'm quite active on there, and TikTok is at Esther_Inman. And then for my VA services, they're linked on there, but you can go to hireavaforme.com.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, there you have it. Outsourcing and hiring VAs effectively with Esther Inman. Definitely go check her out, and I'll drop where you can find her, all those links inside the show notes. Until next time, let's grow your business together.